Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2, Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show from outside Alec Box Stadium, Skip Bertman Field. It's opening day, LSU and Purdue Fort Wayne. It was a fast-moving first hour. Had Jamie Tutgo, LSU's Director of Player Development, had Kramer Robertson, got the opening lineup. So lots and lots going on in that first hour. If you missed it, you can always catch it on demand. Hour 2 is going to be fun as well. Preston Guy in 15 minutes talking a little bit of football. We will see if Antoine Duplantis and or Alex Milazzo can shake free. I just walked over there, candidly. They got a lot of autographs to sign, so we'll see if that happens. But that's a good thing. I want them to have a lot of autographs to sign. They earned that certainly in their playing days on the field, and there's a lot of folks here that are excited to see them and are excited to watch some baseball. So if they come over here, I'll be excited. If not, we can power through an hour here without them. We had Kramer in the last hour again, so we appreciate that appreciate him for making a little time for us here. We're just outside Alec Box Stadium on the first base line, right next to the ticket windows. It's Fan Fest here, and there are a ton of folks that are hanging out. If you're coming out to the box, going to be a few minutes early. Go see Fan Fest. It's cool. They got some really cool things for the kiddos to do. They can take some batting practice. There's a huge inflatable slide they can go down as well. Plus, there's some food and drinks around here. So tons to do out here at the box, and we're excited to go in there and watch the 2025 Tigers for the first time. I got some questions in the Bayou Ford chat that I'll get to here as we ease into hour number 1. Hunt, do you expect any mound time for Jake Brown and Dalton Beck this season? I do expect mound time for Dalton Beck, which I did not know he pitched until the fall. Dalton Beck came to LSU, and when I looked at his numbers from Incarnate Word, he was the newcomer of the year in the Southland Conference. He hit well over 350. He hit nearly 20 home runs from the left side as a power corner outfield bat, and I thought that's what they brought him here to do. And I think he is going to get some at-bats in February and March as well. But he has shown the ability to pitch a little bit in the fall. And if you look at LSU's pitching staff as it's constructed, Cade Anderson's left-handed. Well, he's going to pitch on Friday nights as of right now. That's not a lot of help to the rest of the weekend. You're pretty much toast after you've pitched on Friday night. And then you've got a couple of other guys that they hope they can lean on for some outs. You feel like DJ Primo is one of the guys who could be in long relief. Connor Ware is a stopper. And then you're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel with left-handers when you look at Cooper Williams and Dalton Beck. And I don't mean that as a slight to those two guys. Dalton Beck came here as a hitter, and Cooper Williams is a freshman. So it's not those guys can't pitch. It's just that they don't have the profile of some of LSU's some of LSU's pitchers coming in. So I think they look at Beck and they go, okay, we got Primo. Okay, we got Ware. Okay, Cooper Williams is a good pitcher, but what else we got left-handed? And I think that Dalton Beck kind of fills a need there as a guy that they might be able to lean on a little bit. And I watched him twice in the preseason, and he's got a pretty good breaking ball, and he throws 90 miles an hour. So, yes, you will see Dalton Beck throw it a little bit. I do not expect to see Jake Brown at all on the mound. I think Jake Brown has made the transition to a hitter and an outfielder, just in the same way that Gavin Guidry in his first fall at LSU made the transition from an infielder to a pitcher and has never looked back. That's what you're looking at here. And so I think that everybody's okay with that. I think this, and this is a hard thing, but it's something that Jay is transparent about in recruiting, and it's something that he is insistent upon when he does media obligations and speaking arrangements around the city. Like, guys that come to LSU know they've come to LSU, and they know that playing time's hard to come by, and not everybody's going to get it all. Like when Dylan Cruz shows up, yep, he going to play. When Paul Skeens shows up, yep, he gonna start on Friday. But if you listen to Will Helmers on Matt's show earlier this week, or you read my piece on LouisianaSports.net, like he knew that his role was to come in there and pitch when needed, but to be a good team guy. And that's what he wants to do. And by all accounts, Jake Brown and Gavin Guidry are kind of like the two guys who exemplify that the most on this team. They're Louisiana guys. They want to play for LSU. Did they envision maybe a different role? Maybe 2 years ago, but they kind of know where they are right now. And I think Dalton Beck would go into that. He's not a Louisiana kid, but he understands, like, he's not going to start in the outfield very much. He may get a couple of pinch hitting opportunities here or there, but maybe he can help on the mound. And I do believe that a lot of guys that come to LSU to play baseball understand that they have a chance to win a national championship. There aren't that many teams that can say that, especially not in this era of the transfer portal and NIL where the SEC just reigns supreme. And the SEC just went up to Omaha and just absolutely annihilated everybody last year. And that happened the year before that, too. You saw Tennessee and A&M in the final this year. You saw LSU and Florida before that. You saw Ole Miss against a non-SEC team but win. And then you saw Mississippi State and Vanderbilt the year before that. You're looking at, in the terms of the last 4 College World Series, 7 of the 8 finals have been SEC teams. This is where all the players are. This is where all the money is. Not everybody can start. So it's sometimes about taking your role and what you can do. And I think most guys are okay with that. There's one that left that was not. He's in the league now, plays catcher. But most guys at LSU understand what their role is. And so I think those 2 guys are okay with that. Also got a question, said who is going to be the weekday starters this week since LSU plays Tuesday or Wednesday. I have changed my tune over the last 2 years on midweek starters. In theory, I would love to have a 4th starter that throws 6 innings on Tuesday and is a quality pitcher that in the event that I'm in a regional and have to go out of the loser's bracket, or I get in Omaha and I got to play 4 times in 4 days, I've got someone that I can turn to that's not what they asked Nate Ackenhausen to do or had Javen Coleman in that spot a couple of years ago. In theory, that sounds great to have 4 guys that are midweek that are starting pitchers. Your Friday guy, Saturday guy, Sunday guy, midweek starter. Sounds awesome. Truth be told, LSU rarely has 3 weekend starters. You got to go back to Poche, Lang, and Walker in 2017 to even get there. But the last time LSU had 3 starters. And that's asking me to get another one. And then you have to determine that he's good enough to be the midweek starter and go 6 and 7 innings against Lamar and Tulane and Southeastern, but he's not good enough to help you on the weekend, because if you got to start on Tuesday, you can't pitch on Saturday or Sunday, and if you go 7 innings on Tuesday, you're not coming back on the weekend. So that's just the nature of this sport and the schedule. You're going to see all the good teams just get a lot of guys work in the midweek. So I feel confident saying that the starter on Tuesday, and this is, again, based on who pitches later this weekend, but it's probably going to be one of those guys they stretched out. It's probably going to be Gavin Guidry or William Schmidt. It's probably going to be I don't think it's going to be Connor Ware, because I think he's going to pitch this weekend. I think that's probably the likelihood, and you'll probably see 5 pitchers on Tuesday and Wednesday. And they'll use whoever's available on Wednesday. It's not realistic to find a 4th starter in college baseball, because that would signify that he's good enough to pitch on long range on Tuesday, but not good enough to help you on the weekend. It's just not necessarily something that's gonna present itself very often. Got a uniform czar. What's your all-time favorite uniform combo? I think I'm the only person that has this take, and you can call it a terrible take. I'm okay with that, because I don't know anyone who agrees with me. I like when LSU wears the grays. The grays I liked it when they wore the interlocking grays in like the 2013, 14, 15 era, like the Aaron Nola, Alex Bregman era. Now they have the Tigers on the grays, which I don't think looks as good as the interlocking LSU right there on the chest. But I like grays. I think it's classic baseball, and I love it. If I had to rank LSU's usual uniforms, I would go grays first, whites second, pinstripes third, purple fourth, gold fifth. That is blasphemy to 90% of y'all who adore the golds. And look, I don't hate the golds at all. I like the golds. But to me, gold is a better accent than it is a primary color. And I think the purple uniform looks better. I have another take that y'all are going to find awful in uniform perspective. I didn't expect to get into uniforms today, but here we are. I liked when LSU used to wear the purple jerseys and white hats. I thought that looked good with the purple bill. I like more traditional baseball stuff, and I don't like when LSU wears gold jerseys with white pants on the road. I don't think you should wear white pants on the road. But gold doesn't look great with gray. It's a whole thing, okay? But you asked me the question. I gave you the answer. It just is what it is with my uniform takes, and none of them are right or wrong. They're just my opinion. It is what it is. But you asked, you got it. Shane LeBlanc says Hunt does not have too much luck with guests when he's on site. Look, last week was a freaking madhouse at the Super Bowl. I get it. And today, I'm well aware of what's going on. Kramer was good enough to give us a little bit of time, and I certainly appreciated that. Those guys are drowning in autographs over there, and that's good. It's way more important that they sign autographs for the awesome fans that are here at the ball game than come over and chat with me for 10 minutes about some things that happened 5 or 8 years ago. I thought the interview with Kramer went great. I thought he was gracious. It's always an interesting thing when a player decides their playing days are over, and that time comes for every player, but you just never know when it's going to come and in what form or fashion. And that's tough for a guy that's fought and grinded, as he said, for 25 years to make it to the big leagues. And he played 2 games, but he wasn't necessarily never made it up for like a whole season. And that's tough. But he was a great player at LSU. He had a great career in the minor leagues and was right there knocking on the doorstep for a number of years with the Cardinals organization. But now he's back at LSU working in the name, image, and likeness department and hanging out with Mom. And I think that's a pretty good spot for him. And we appreciated a little bit of his time earlier on today. Our Friday shows are brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish, and Shrimp. We are going to step aside. Let's talk a little bit of football, and then we'll do the last 30 minutes on baseball. Preston Guy, TigerBait.com, is going to join us when we come back. This is The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show. This is The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish, and Shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish, and Shrimp. Get on by for a late lunch. Tailgating at the box this weekend. Dinner this weekend, feeding the office. Crispy fried catfish, jumbo Gulf shrimp, and best po' boy in town over at Corks. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. Usually, when we talk to Preston Guy on Fridays, we are just pushing off the dock. Well, we're like almost done, and quite frankly, I'm ready to go watch some baseball anyway. So let's talk to Preston Guy right now about some football here as we're in the second hour of the Hunt Palmer Show. Preston joined us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. How are we doing, Preston? I cannot hear Preston if we have him back, so if there's a button we need to push, let me know, but I do not hear him if we have him. But there are some things I want to talk to Preston about here, namely a couple of additions to the staff, as well as the Juwan Johnson situation, which I talked about yesterday. Bo's going to get Preston all dialed up here on site, so we'll talk to him in a second. He may be on the air when he answers the phone, so that'll be an adventure in itself. But again, I talked about Juwan Johnson yesterday and my thoughts on it. If this is about a package, I'm all about it. If they don't think he can help at safety or running back and they need another body there, fine. If he can help at safety and or running back and they're making him the 4th-string quarterback, I don't think that's a great thing for a team that has championship aspirations. That's my thoughts on it. We'll get Preston's thoughts on it here. Preston Guy, TigerBait.com, now joins us in the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Preston, how are we doing?
Hunt, how's it going, man? Thank you for letting me invade your space of baseball opening day. I know today is a sacred holiday for you. It is not Valentine's Day. It is opening day. So hopefully you're feeling good about the team this year.
I feel good about the team, and honestly, I'm not really concerned about your feelings on Valentine's Day versus opening day. I'm more concerned with my wife's, and she was good with me going to the baseball game as long as I can pick up sushi on the way home, which I said we can make that happen. So as long as she's happy, I'm happy at the box, and you're happy if we talk about some football. So let's go ahead and do that. I said my piece about Juwan Johnson yesterday, and I gave a lot of caveats because for all I know, some intern just input the position wrong on the website. But the website does say that Juwan Johnson is listed as a quarterback. Your thoughts on the whole situation?
Well, I mean, you've got Garrett Nussmeier, who's your veteran stud starter. You know he's there. You've got the Michael Van Buren from Mississippi State coming in, right? And who else is really – you didn't sign a freshman quarterback. Ricky Collins hit the portal. So were you going to roll into spring ball with 2 quarterbacks? To me, this screams like, yeah, we needed to have another quarterback there because we don't know if Colin Hurley's going to be there for spring or not. So let's go into spring ball. with the preparation that Juwan Johnson is going to be a quarterback for us and have to run our offenses. And hopefully he gets another skill set. I do have some concern about long-term and his development. Like, okay, if he's going to be a running back for you, is he truly honing his running back skills? And he needs reps because he played quarterback in high school. Of course, he's the LHSAA all-time leader in total yardage playing quarterback for LCA. But, is he going to be able to learn the position well if you keep on bouncing him around? You started him at DB, and now you're bouncing him out to running back, and then, quarterback now for spring. If this is just a spring ball move, are you hindering his development by moving him around to so many positions? That's my concern with it, if it is just a short-term move. But you certainly understand why you would want more than 2 quarterbacks for spring football.
Yeah, I guess my point was, I think it's unlikely that Juwan Johnson can help the team at quarterback. If Holland Hurley doesn't come back and Garrett Nussmeier and Michael Van Buren both get hurt, I think your team is toast. Like, I realize that that's not like a popular thing to say and that you would never hear a coach say that. But if you think he can help at star or running back, like, get him reps there and just realize that if you get one quarterback gets in a car accident and come back and the other 2 get hurt, well, sorry, we tried.
Well, Hunt, I hear what you're saying. It is a really bad situation if you have to roll out with Juwan Johnson. Like, it's not. You're not competing for a championship with Juwan Johnson rolling out to their quarterback. I get where you're coming from. That being said, I mean, you really do need. You're thin there.
You are, no question.
Someone rolling. I mean, are you just gonna? What was the bowl? Are you gonna John Trey Kirkland this thing?
Well, I think, look, there's another transfer portal window where I feel like you could probably get someone who can function. I don't know what the walk-ons do. I mean, how many times have we seen some terrible situation on a Saturday where 2 quarterbacks go down and some walk-on goes out there and helps? And what is there a possibility here that Juwan Johnson is just working at running back and there's a package for him at quarterback? Like, maybe there's a likelihood, I think, that I'm just reading too much into this.
Maybe. You also have to understand, I mean, they added the U-High quarterback, Emil Picarella, just recently. And he's more coveted than your typical walk-on. Let me ask you this, Hunt. Who would you feel better about winning a football game for you out there, Juwan Johnson or A.J. Swan?
Oh, A.J. Swan by a mile. A.J. Swan's.
I don't know about that.
A.J. Swan's played SEC quarterback before.
Not well,
but Juwan Johnson's literally never done it.
Well, that's true, but Juwan Johnson, I have no idea what A.J. Swan did in high school. I will bet you anything, AJ, that Juwan Johnson was a better high school quarterback than him. That being said, I mean, the dynamic ability to expand your offense, running the ball, rolling out. Look, if I have to bet on one of those guys winning a football game for me, I'm putting my money on Juwan Johnson every time over A.J. Swan, who's very limited and not a very talented passer. I mean, call me crazy, but I'll go with Juwan Johnson over A.J. Swan. And A.J. Swan was your second-string quarterback at the end of last year. So, when you start making those comparisons, at least for me, I'm like, makes sense.
Yeah. Let's talk about some staff additions. Big deal, little deal, no deal at all. Tim Rattay comes over. Lance Guidry comes over. They're big names because Rattay is a legend collegiately at Louisiana Tech, and Guidry is from here and has been a coordinator at a couple of stops, and it didn't go great at the end at Miami. But what are your thoughts on those 2 additions to the staff?
Well, first off, I think more so than either one of those guys individually, it's clear to me that they are looking to invest in their analyst staff. You remember under Ogeron for a while, that became like a big deal. We all talked about the Nick Saban coaching rehabilitation clinic, right? And it seems like that under Kelly, there were certainly some quality analysts that they've added, but it wasn't like a huge, robust lineup that we were beating on our chests with. So those guys, in addition to, they brought in Grambling special teams coordinator as a special teams assistant. Certainly seems like they're trying to stockpile up on a great number of very talented guys. Think about Lance Guidry a year ago. We're talking about Miami's defensive coordinator, and now all of a sudden he's just an analyst for you. That's really good. Timbertay, did you know Timbertay threw for like 12,000 yards in college?
So I was a young kid in Shreveport, right down the road from Ruston, when Timbertay and Troy Edwards were rolling up yards. Yes, I was well aware of it. They were setting a lot of records in Ruston.
Yeah. So, and then we're talking about the familiarity with Joe Sloan.
Yeah.
They were on coaching staff together at Louisiana Tech, if you remember correctly. I think he was the quarterback coach under Joe Sloan, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, familiarity. We're talking about a former NFL and college star. I mean, look, these are great. We're talking about analysts here. We're not talking about your coordinator. These are big resumes just to add to your coaching staff to help it be analysts. I love what they're doing, not just with those two, just the overall body of the quality guys they're bringing in. I mean, I don't think Brian Kelly's playing around anymore. I think he's getting with the team and saying we have to invest in our coaching and we have to invest in our roster. We have to compete right now this year. Or he's probably toast if not, you know.
We'll see. Things look decent right now, but they got a lot of work to do. They continue to work on the recruiting trail. Bryson Martinez commits this week from right down the road at EA. They're doing a good job in the state, and it's a big haul. What are your thoughts on Bryson Martinez and how they've approached the state of Louisiana for 26?
Well, I love Bryson Martinez, and I was just watching his film the other day. Or I say when he committed, I made sure to go through and watch all his film. He is a hog in the trenches. I mean, he is a bulldozer. He is mowing over people. I think he needs to be polished a little bit in his pass blocking. Okay, his footwork's a little slow-footed. I think he looks more like a right tackle, even though he's playing left tackle. He looks like a collegiate right tackle to me right now, or maybe even guard. Although, shoot, at 6'6", you'd hope he doesn't have to play guard. But I think he needs to clean up his pass blocking a little bit. I have a lot of confidence in LSU in developing pass blockers. We've seen them develop. Brad Davis developed a few pretty good pass blockers. So I would rather take a guy who's a hog in run blocking and then see if you can develop him into a good pass blocker than the other way around, because they didn't run block very well last year. But anyway, huge kid, local kid. You love keeping these guys home, especially a top 100 national player. They continue to put a really heavy focus in state and at least start strong in state. Of course, it seems like the big name guys with NIL, a couple are you're starting to lose, but you know that's part of the business here. Is if you're going to get into a national bidding war over a local kid, if you want to keep the kid home, do you want to empty out your collective just to keep a local kid home? And thus far, the answer has been we'll pay, we'll take care of you what you're worth, but I'm not taking away enough money to get 3 other commitments just for one kid. So locally early on, they're good. Can they retain them? And can they keep away the overbidders in NIL?
Tell everybody what's going on at Tiger Bait. Spring football is not that far away.
No, it's not, man. It's starting next month, and we'll be doing our practice reports, and we'll be doing our post-spring game show. So you can see us on our YouTube channel. Keep up with regular content. Of course, we're also doing a women's basketball show that Mike hosts, and they're doing all their shows there. So you can definitely keep up with our channel and website. We're working on a bunch of recruiting pieces right now. I'm working on Booby Feaster, who's the DeSoto 5-star receiver. He reclassified from 27 to 26 today, meaning he's next at bat. So I'm trying to get a good story put together for him, and our staff, we're out grinding, getting all the 26 and 27 recruiting stories. We'll be pumping out a ton of updates during this off season. So y'all make sure to check out TigerBait.com and the YouTube channel. If
Booby Feaster's not on the all-name team, then they got to do away with the all-name team. That's just the way
that's a nickname. I don't know if that
goes. All right, Preston, we appreciate we appreciate some time. Have a great weekend, man.
All right. See you soon, hon.
He's Preston Guy, LSU beat writer, TigerBait.com. He's with us every single Friday. We're getting close to first pitch, 32 minutes away from the first pitch of the ball game between LSU and Purdue Fort Wayne. Why don't I go ahead and give you my season prediction? Might as well do that. We'll do it when we come back. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com is the website. Look, I know a lot of folks don't love going to car dealerships when they purchase a vehicle. I get it. Sometimes that's not a pleasant experience. You feel like you're being swarmed. You feel like you're under pressure. You feel like you're being lied to or upsold. I get that. That's been the case for decades in the car business. But you're not going to have that experience at all at Genesis of Baton Rouge. You're going to be treated like a guest, not a customer, and they're just going to be there to help. They understand at Genesis of Baton Rouge that not everybody has been behind the wheel of a Genesis. It's not been around as long as some of the major car brands, but they're happy to teach you about it. They're happy to get you behind the wheel of a Genesis. They'll do it at the dealership, which is a gorgeous facility right there at Airline and Pico, or they'll come to you if that's better for you. They can come to your place of work. They can come to your home and have you test drive it with one of their brand ambassadors. You'll see the difference in driving a Genesis. It's got all the bells and whistles that you would like, sleek, stylish, comfortable, and you're talking about an affordable vehicle in a luxury line. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge, and you can find them all online at genesisofbatonrouge.com, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Here at the box, LSU and Purdue Fort Wayne coming at you in about 27 minutes. I'm looking at the flags, national championship flags, I should add, here at Championship Plaza, and they are whipping in pretty good from the north. So good day to pitch, not necessarily a great day. Drive the ball out of the ballpark. Thought the weather would be pretty mild today as far as wind goes. Tomorrow it's supposed to be whipping out of the south. And hopefully with that high temperatures, you can get the ball out of the ballpark tomorrow. Then Sunday, it's supposed to be blowing in really hard as the temperatures dip back down. But Sunday looks like a really sunny day as well. So hopefully we get all three games in without a hitch. It rained a little bit earlier here at the box, but not raining currently, although it's a little bit overcast. Should be good to start here in 25 minutes, but wind whipping in could be a tough day to hit, especially if the ball gets up in the air. Time to do my season predictions. As I sit here today, I could tell you they got Cade Anderson, who's ready to be a star. He's best pitcher on the staff. He's going to be an ace. Anthony Ianson, proven innings eater, guy that was a Team USA guy, legit number 2, who's going to miss a ton of bats. Chase Shores, elite talent on Sunday, throwing 100 miles an hour, going to give LSU a talent advantage every single Sunday out on the mound. Connor Ware and Gavin Guidry give you closers from both sides. Got Jared Jones, who could hit 30 home runs this year, and you're going to see Jake Brown take a big step up, and got two guys who can catch. Cade Arambides, a young star, and Luis Hernandez is really taking to the position. And man, Stephen Milam at shortstop's going to take another step this year. And Daniel Dickinson, another Team USA guy, is going to be a second-round pick. And I can sell you all this bill of goods that everything's going to be awesome. This team is just going to steamroll start to finish. But we know, as exciting as it is to get ready for opening day, it doesn't work out like that really ever. Some guys are going to perform, some guys are not. There's a guy or two that's not in the lineup today that's going to be a big piece in SEC play. The good news, I think, is that LSU has got a lot of options if there are some guys that falter here and there. I am not completely sold on the power on this team outside of Jones. I am a little concerned that nobody has SEC starting experience in the rotation. And I'm a little concerned with the defense at catcher and what Milam does at shortstop with an average arm. Like, I do have some concerns. So I don't think this is the best team in the country. This does not look like 2023 to me, certainly not with Paul Skeens at the front of the rotation. Do I think LSU's good? I do. But I don't think that this is right now a top 3 or 4 roster in college baseball. Now, they're ranked 2 or 3 just about anywhere you look, but A&M's got more talent than LSU. And Virginia has some real high-end players this year. And you always know Arkansas is going to pitch it. And I kind of like Florida's position players a lot this year. So it's just going to be a grind. So I'm trying to be level-headed as we sit here in February. It's fun to go crazy and talk about how awesome we're going to be, but I'm trying to be fairly level-headed here in February and give you kind of my prediction on the way things go. I'm confident in Cade Anderson starting today, but I was confident in Caleb Gilbert, and that didn't go as well in 2018. But I'm confident in him, and I think that there's a chance that even if he falters, that Ianson or Shores or even Connor Ware could become a legit ace. I think they've got some options there. So I'm hopeful that works out. I think LSU is going to play good defense in the outfield. And I think Jared Jones is a superstar that just needs somebody to show up and protect him. But, Josh Pearson's doing that today, and if you got a guy that hits 270 with 10 home runs behind him, which is kind of what Josh Pearson has shown himself to be, that's going to lend teams to spinning a lot of breaking balls away from Jared Jones and kind of staying away from him. Change-ups down, fastballs well away, and maybe he's not as impactful as he could be. There's a concern there as well. But if some things click for this team, which you certainly hope they do, they could be really, really good. And that's certainly everyone's hope here. We got 56 games to figure it out, and that is why this is my favorite sport. It's my favorite sport because LSU can start 3-12 in conference play. 3-12 in conference play, having been swept twice. And I can sit there realistically in Hoover and go, now this team's got a chance. This team's got a chance to make a run. And it was realistic. If Jump gets those last 3 outs in Chapel Hill, they come back here to play a super? Come on now. They got a shot with Holman and Jump the way they were throwing it. That's not the case in football. You got a bad 4 weeks in football, you probably fired the coach, much less win a national championship, okay? That's what my temperament is built for. I love this grind. I love the fact that if you lose today, you come back tomorrow. You win today, good, but we got to come back tomorrow. You need to try something here one day, try it out. Doesn't go well, try something else. Push different buttons. And, yeah, it's well documented. Last year, I gave up on him. At 3-12, I gave up on him. Said I don't think it's going to get better. Haven't seen enough out of Jump and Holman. Nobody you can trust out of the bullpen. Not swinging the bats the way they need to. You've got guys that are sophomores and Kling and Neal and Fry and the guys that you needed to step up and become stars. They're not. And only Jones stepped forward from that group. And I gave up. And they proved me wrong. And they just about got it done. So that's the beautiful thing about this sport. Today's fun. If they lose to Purdue Fort Wayne today, I'll be bummed leaving, but not going to change my excitement level for tomorrow. This is what it is. So my prediction for this team is that they're solid. I predict they do not get swept in an SEC series because of that depth. I think that when you're top heavy and your top guy doesn't perform, top 2 guys don't perform, then you can falter. I don't think LSU's top heavy this year. They were top heavy last year. White and Jones trying to hit homers. You hadn't gotten Milam to break out yet or Larson to contribute yet. You had a bunch of guys that were hitting nothing. Jake Brown and Paxton Kling and Brady Neal, and those guys were not contributing offensively. And if you didn't have White or Jones for a certain day, you didn't have anything. I don't think that's the case with this team. I think they've got enough guys that can help. Hopefully they hit for some more pop. But I don't think they get swept. I think they're rock solid. I do think they lose more non-conference than they did last year. They went to conference play 16-2 last year. I think you could probably add another loss to that somewhere. But I've got LSU as a 38-18 team. I've got them losing 5 games in the non-conference, whether that's pre-conference or in the midweek, and I've got them 17-13 in the SEC. That to me will be good enough to host a regional here at the Box, and we'll see. What that means after that round. I don't have them as a top 8 today, but I withhold the right to change that decision when we start conference play here in a month. But keep in mind, this is a program that last year was 16-2 going into conference play, had swept through a Houston week that included Rice and the Minute Maid Classic, and then fell on their face. So what we won't learn everything in the first 4 weeks because you're playing teams you're better than. Once you really put your feet to the fire in the SEC is when you really learn. And starting with Missouri is a nice thing here at home this year as opposed to what LSU had to deal with last year where they played a murder's row at Mississippi State, then home Florida, at Arkansas, home Vanderbilt, at Tennessee. I mean, it was just it was a gauntlet, and LSU didn't respond to it. You start with Missouri this year, which should be a nice handshake opener for this team. But I'm confident with this team. I'm not blown away by this team like I was by the returning stars that they had in 2023. You had Cruz, you had Morgan, you had Thompson. Tommy White was going to come here and hit a bajillion homers. Beloso and Dugas kind of surprised, and that's the kind of thing that you've got to have. That's going to happen. Travinsky did a good job as well. But that's what you got to have, some guys step forward. They don't have as much proven star power as they did at that point. Maybe some of it emerges. But give me 38-18 for this team, 17-13 in league play. I think they're a regional host, and I think absolutely they're a threat to get to Omaha and make a run. As I told y'all earlier this week, I'm booked for Omaha. That's the charge has already gone through. I got flights that are scheduled, and I got a hotel. So if they get there, I'll be there, and I know a lot of you will as well. So they get things started today. We'll give it to Kate Anderson. I'll give you the lineup one more time when we get back to the last segment, and we'll wrap up shop here from just outside Alex Box Stadium. It's opening day. We're brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Audio Video Security Solutions, avssla.com is the website. It's about to be outdoor season here in South Louisiana. The spring is a great time to spend some time in the backyard, at the outdoor kitchen. Pool season's around the corner. If you'd like to get some surround sound, maybe hang a television outside, improve your outdoor area, whether you got a pool house, or you just hang out in the backyard like the Palmers, where the Myers man loves to play some baseball. They got us hooked up with a great sound system that I can manipulate from my phone. I listen to podcasts, I listen to tunes, and I can watch baseball games outside because of the work Mitchell Fisher and his team did at Audio Video Security Solutions. So if you're looking to improve your outdoor area with audio, with video, they can do it for you. Give Mitchell a call or check them out online at avssla.com. They're also on Instagram at avss_BR. Great resource, phenomenal local company, and they've been great to us in the Palmer House. So check them out online at avssla.com. That's Audio Video Security Solutions.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Rouse's Supermarkets.
.104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust want to help cover your car payments. It's a $5,000 grand prize with a bonus chance to win free car washes from Benny's Car Wash for 6 months. We're also letting you earn extra entries by subscribing to our LouisianaSports.net daily newsletter. To sign up, visit 1045ESPN.com.
As they say, some days at the office better than others. Today, good day at the office. Been out here in the fan zone for LSU and Purdue Fort Wayne at Alex Box Stadium. 7 national championship flags flying just to my left. A lot of folks in purple and gold have already filed into the box. Should be just about a full house as the weather's cooperated for the time being. And we're going to enjoy a little bit of baseball here today and for the next 4 months straight. LSU plays more than they don't play from now for the next 4 months in terms of days of the week. You're always going to play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You throw in some Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and really your only off days are Mondays and Thursdays. It's a good gig, and we're fired up to be here, and hopefully it's another great season for Jay Johnson's club, which we all certainly hope that it is. If you missed the lineup a little bit earlier today, I know a lot of folks just knocking off of work as we get closer to 2 o'clock here on a Friday, and LSU will hit Chris Stanfield in the leadoff spot. He'll play center field. Derek Curiel, going to be a star. He is in left field in the 2-hole. Jared Jones will play first base. He is the 3-hole hitter. Josh Pearson will add some protection there for him. He's the designated hitter. Daniel Dickinson will be in the 5-hole playing second base. Jake Brown will play right field, and he will hit 7th. Sixth, beg your pardon. Luis Hernandez will hit 7th. He's the catcher. Stephen Milam will hit 8th. He is the shortstop, and the third baseman's Michael Braswell. He is in the 9-hole. I got the 9 names right for those guys, but did not necessarily get them in the correct order. I would have to have been a really wise person to have gotten that exactly right, and we all know that that's not necessarily the case. But I like the way the lineup looks. I like Stanfield's on-base ability and speed at the top. I love Curiel hitting in front of Jones. Pearson is going to give you a tough at-bat behind Jones. We'll see how that goes. And then I talked about this at the bottom of the first hour. That 5, 6, 7 slot in the order, Dickinson, Brown, Hernandez, provides so much ceiling and a little bit of a low floor because we don't know if Dickinson or Hernandez can adjust to this level. And Jake Brown didn't hit last year in league play, but they're all very talented. Dickinson, we know the talent. Brown, we think the talent. And then Hernandez was productive last year with 23 home runs at Indiana State. So if those guys are good, LSU's lineup gets really long really quickly. If they're not, all of a sudden you're kind of limited. So I do like Braswell in the 9-hole and Milam right in front of him at 8, getting on base for Stanfield, Curiel, and Jones. I don't know if you're going to see a lot of punch from LSU's order today because the wind is whipping in from center field. It's going to be a tough day to get the ball out of the ballpark, but I think LSU's lineup has more ways to score than just that one. Jay Johnson talked about that a lot over the last couple of weeks about how he felt last year. They kind of became Tommy White or Jarrett Jones hitting it over the fence or just not a lot else, and that's not a good way to try to win baseball games. You got to be more balanced. You got to be able to hit the ball on a line. You got to be able to steal some bases, get a bunt down when that needs to happen, and play in a different environment than just a launching pad. We'll see what they can do today against a team that's clearly going to be outmatched. The Mastodons of Purdue Fort Wayne, not a stellar club, but LSU needs to go out there and take care of business in this one, and we certainly hope that they do. Jacob Beck, we got some take it or leave it to do while we close things up from the box?
Yes, we do.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it.
All righty, first one here. Hunt, I hope you saw this link I just sent you. Go ahead and check your phone real quick. I just sent you a link for some new uniforms that your favorite team, the Texas A&M Aggies, have revealed for their basketball team. Uniforms are take it or leave it.
Beck, these are offensively terrible. Just
So
could
bad.
not leave it any more quickly.
So bad.
It is so bad. I don't. What is the deal?
I don't
Are
know.
these like throwback in some way? Adidas has got them in these. It looks like a onesie, and it's gray with a T on it. It's just awful. It's got the number on the knee. That's got to be some sort of throwback to some A&M basketball team that didn't win anything. It's not good. It's not good. What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, they're terrible. I mean, it just has a T on it. I don't understand what it has to be a throwback, but still, it just looks awful. It's one of the worst that I've seen this year for sure.
I love to hear that.
All right, next one here. There will be no debauchery at the Eagles Super Bowl parade. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. They're going to come up a little shy of the Cubs championship parade. That had 4 million at it. That was like the 6th largest gathering of humans in the history of the world. Eagles will have 1 million, they say, and they're going to be on their worst behavior because that's what the people of Philly pride themselves on. They pride themselves on being vulgar, irreverent, and obnoxious. And so my guess is they'll be vulgar, irreverent, and obnoxious at a Super Bowl parade. But hey, you do what you need to do. You won the game. That's great.
All right, last one here. I'm not sure if you got to see this, but Shaq on NBA on TNT last night, they're in their halftime show, was seemed to be a little tired and frustrated, and quoted the great Marshawn Lynch, and did not censor his words. He said, "I'm tired as America. We are getting fired anyway. Ernie, F it." Shaq dropping some language on NBA on TNT. Take it or leave it. Or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. I love the big fella. You know how good that show is. It's phenomenal. It's a bummer that because of all the contracts, they're going to potentially go away here. I don't even know the latest on it, but clearly Shaq's not happy about it. So you just don't need to do it. It can be done in a more lighthearted way. You got the kiddos potentially watching. I just don't need vulgarities. I realize there are a lot of folks who just don't care about that at all and think it's fine for 10-year-olds to hear terrible words, and that's fine. I'm just not necessarily inclined to think the same way. It's not necessary, Shaq. I love the big fella, and I'm bummed out the show's going away, but I don't think you have to sign off that way.
All right, that's it.
All right. I think we've done just about all we can do here. They are putting away all of the tents and all of the areas that have been set up over here in the fan zone. It's been a heck of an afternoon, and based on the amount of folks that have walked by here and have gone into the stadium, I'm expecting a heck of a crowd in there today and hopefully all weekend. If you missed this, this has been 24 hours since they did it, so I'm hopeful that you haven't missed this. But if you have tickets for tomorrow, if you're working today and thought, well, I can't get there, so let me go to the second game, they've moved it up tomorrow. So game time tomorrow was scheduled for 1 o'clock. It'll be at 11 o'clock tomorrow at the box. So there was thought that maybe they could play a doubleheader today, maybe bump it to Sunday because the weather's supposed to be a little bit better, although chilly. said, no, we're going to get it in. We're going to play at 11 o'clock. So 11 o'clock first pitch from the box, and you can hear all the action on Eagle 98.1, our sister station there, the flagship of the LSU Tigers. Appreciate everybody who came out and said, hey, it's been a heck of an afternoon. I am fired up to get in there and watch this team play, not only today, but for the rest of the spring. I do think it's going to be a heck of a ball club, and they just got to come together, and it's got to come together a little more quickly than it did last year, and that means conference play. This is about getting reps. This is about trying different combinations. This is about winning some games while you improve, and that's what LSU's got to do over the next 4 weeks. We've done all we can do from the fan zone here. Big shout out to Jamie Cutco, LSU's Director of Player Development, who gave us a little bit of time in full uniform today. Big shout out to Kramer Robertson, who came over and said, hey, talk to us for about 10 minutes at the end of hour number 1. A big shout out to Preston Guy, who made some time for us as well. Talking a little football. If you missed any of it, you can catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google. Wherever you find your sound, you can always find us. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. That's it. I'm done. And usually it's 3 o'clock. It's only 2 o'clock today. That means Matt's got to go for 3 hours. He will drive you home for the weekend. We're back Monday. Same time. Well, different time, different place. We're going to watch some baseball the rest of the way. Y'all have a great weekend.
The Hunt Palmer Show.